Hey everyone! So we are at the end of one of our very last math units, right? We're wrapping up a chapter that had 3 objectives. The first was to recognize and identify flat shapes, and we just call those plane shapes, just regular shapes. We started with the ones we knew before, like circles, squares, rectangles, triangles. We added some new ones, maybe, for some of us. Trapezoids and hexagons. I have a great story where we add some even more complex shapes tomorrow for us. After we covered the plane shapes, we talked about how there are also solid shapes, 3D shapes, right? These shapes have a little bit trickier names. Cube, rectangular prism, cone, sphere, pyramid, and cylinder. And we talked about how they can stack and they can roll, and they have different attributes like flat faces or curved surfaces, right? Once we got really good with plane shapes and solid shapes, we started putting them together, small shapes coming together to make new, bigger shapes. Or maybe the opposite, taking a nice big shape and cutting it into smaller pieces, like they did with this trapezoid here. We even took many different shapes and put them together into whole pictures. I remember once you did a rocket ship for me. You made a truck another time. You can do the same thing as a 3D model using rectangular prisms, cubes, spheres, cones, those sorts of things. I think many of you are familiar with this from kindergarten or from being a little bit younger, because these blocks, very similar to these, are all over the kindergarten and preschool classrooms. So I bet many of you remember those. But we didn't stop there. We had additional part of this chapter covering patterns. And we talked about how patterns repeat again and again, and we call that the pattern unit or the stem. We also talked about how sometimes patterns can vary the size of objects, like small, medium, and large, like they're doing in this first couple examples. Or they could change the shapes. Here they're making a pattern with different colors. And then suddenly you can put those things together and make some very complex patterns using more than one attribute at a time, and even adding position or turns as part of that pattern. So if I was to look back, I think today's goal is to practice all of those things. We're going to see if you know your shapes, if you know your solids, if you can put those solids and shapes together and take them back apart. And then we'll make a couple patterns to round out the year. Okay, so let me show you the activities I'm going to have you do for me. The first one is to practice some of those words. This is vocabulary in math, right? Do you know what a turn is? Can you put the word pattern in a math sentence? Can you find out which of these shapes, hexagon or trapezoid, fits these sentences? So you might have to read, like, let's just do number 2 here. A blank has 6 sides. A turning has 6 sides. A pattern has 6 sides. A trapezoid, I don't think so. That's a quadrilateral. A hexa means 6. So what I would do if I were you is I would take this hexagon and I would just bring it right down to the line. So on the first page, you're just using the vocabulary in these sentences, trying to make them work. Second, I have some of those shapes and solids that you were supposed to learn listed above. You have to match them with their labels. So you'll just move trapezoid to the trapezoid, or cone up by the cone. There are 6 pictures and there are 6 labels, so it should match up really nice. The third page, you're going to take a whole bunch of blue triangles. Okay, keep them the same size as they are, but you're going to use many of them together to make a new shape, a different shape, right? So think about taking a lot of small shapes, putting them together to make a new, different shape. I could think of a diamond would be kind of a cool shape, or a trapezoid. See if you can't make a square, maybe. Be kind of cool. I like this one. So on this one, what you have to do is you have to look carefully at the dots that are used, and you are going to try your best to copy this shape exactly. So 2 lines here matches 2 lines here. Then it goes over 2. So I'm going to go 1, 2, over. See what I'm doing? So use the dots to do some careful copying of figures. That'll be kind of fun. Last couple that you're going to do is you're going to see if you can't cut this shape up and figure out how many rectangles are inside there, how many triangles are inside there. And then you're going to finish a pattern for me. I have a couple fun math games for you too, guys. I think it's going to be an easy math week. We're wrapping up the end of it, and tomorrow I think we'll just have some fun with shapes. Okay? Thanks now. Bye.